Arrays in PHP can be divided into two broad types, indexed arrays and associative arrays, and the basic difference is that an index array, the values can be anything, but the keys are the counting numbers, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And in an associative array, those keys can be strings or something else. So let's just recap quickly on a basic indexed array. So suppose we have an array with the makes of some cars. Let's just add these as we create an indexed array as normal. Let's add a Toyota here. So here we've created an array. It's got 3 elements. It's got these 3 values here. Each of the elements has a string value, and each of the keys is going to be a number. So this is going to be an indexed array. The first index is going to be 0, second one is 1, third one is 3. 0, 1, 2 rather. Now supposing we wanted to have an array where the colours are important of the cars, and we want to track each. We know that's going to go one make of car in our array. They're going to be our keys, and the values are going to be the colours, so we have to track what the colours are. So how we would do this in PHP is, instead of, we need to specify, we use this special operator here, which we use to associate keys with values. So let's call our Ford, let's say that's got the colour blue, and our Ferrari has, let's use this special operator here, then we put in red for Ferrari, then we go over here to Toyota, and let's give Toyota colour of silver. Now let's just see what's in that array now. Let's just call print R and pass it the cars variable of our just created associative array and see what happens. Okay, we press F5 and we get an array here, and we can see there's 3 elements. The first is Ford, Ferrari, Toyota, blue, red, silver. These are the keys and these are the values. And remember, this is different to an indexed array where these would be 0, 1, 2, always the keys would always be integers. So suppose we want to access an individual element, we would just exactly the same as we do in an indexed array. We reference the key, and this time we reference, suppose we want to see what colour Ferrari is, we just put in our key there, and we will just clear this window here and run it again, see what happens. So there we get red. So that's the basic concept of a associative array. Now one of the things we could do here is that we could break this up so that it fits here a bit better in this window here, make this line more readable. So let's just tidy up our declaration of the array here. So we can do it that way. That starts to make more sense now. We can see that a bit more easily what's happening. We can also use the for each to go through our array. So let's just do that, see how that differs from an indexed array. Use the for each again, we use cars again, we use as again, and this time we just, in an indexed array, we just need one variable here to hold the value of each car as we loop through the array. But now we're going to need 2 because we have 2 types of value. We have the keys and the values, so we're going to have to create 2 here. So let's make those, let's call them key value for illustrative purpose, and we'll change this in a minute. And just as we did when we were declaring the array, when we were creating the array, initializing the array up here, we use this special operator we use to separate keys and values, and use this again down here when we are iterating through this array using for each. So now we can just output a string here, and let's put in the car is key. The key is the car, and let's say it has color, and let's put in the value is the color. So let's just see what that does. For it has color blue. See here in our output window what we've just output here. Ford has color blue, Ferrari's color red, Toyota has color silver. So what might make this a bit more meaningful here as well is if we, a better way to do this would be call this each make or model, I'm not sure what we should be saying there, with each make of car, and here we should be saying color. So now it's even more apparent what this is doing. So the important thing to note here is that it's very easy to use associative arrays. It's a little bit verbose. You have to use a special operator here, and you have some extra things going on here in your array when you create these arrays, but they're very simple to do. Let's just check that that works okay. And of course, when we want to reference individual elements in our array, we can just add new elements or change elements by just accessing them by index. So we could add a new car here, we could add a Mazda, and a Mazda could be, let's say a Mazda is red as well. So now we have Mazda which is red, and let's just check what that's doing. And that has worked for us properly, and output this, and we've got Ford is blue, Ferrari is red, Toyota is silver, and Mazda is red. We've added Mazda there, or indeed we could use this to change the colors of one of our cars. So we could change the Ford to red, and there Ford red, Ferrari red, Toyota silver. So that's basically how you access one of the elements in the array. You can output elements, you can access an element, and then you can assign a new value to that element, and so on. Let's just have a quick look now at, we added an extra color to our car. We had an extra car with an extra color, so we ended up with some colors that belong to more than one make of car, and that's perfectly fine. We got multiple colors, but suppose we wanted to find all of the colors that a particular car had. We have a particular function for that, which returns an array called, the function rather that it returns that array is called array keys, and very simply it just returns the number of keys in a given function, which is cars in this case, that have a particular color. So let's pass in the color blue, and let's do a print R on that. See what we get. So we can see that returns an array of 1 with Ford, and this is an indexed array that's returning here. Now suppose we added another car. Let's add back in the Mazda, and let's call the array keys function. Let's pass it the cars associative array, and let's pass it the color red as a value, and let's see how many keys here have that color red. So basically we're just checking this column of data here to see how many have read in this column. So let's have a quick look, and we get Ferrari and Mazda, so that's an array with 2 elements. So you can start to see that arrays, associative arrays, are quite powerful. You can do a lot of things with them. One thing we could do as well is we have a lot of functions here to search. We have functions to check whether values exist. We have array search, we have array values, we have array key exists, we have inArray, which is very handy. So if we want to find out if there is a Ford in our array, we just call inArray cars Ford. And there's a lot of other useful utility functions like that for working with associative arrays that you should explore.